India does not lack MSME schemes. It lacks last minute connectivity connection between support networks and payment markets. An MSME can be registered, funded, and still not grow because none of the systems are connected. By the end of this conversation, founders, ecosystem leaders, and policymakers will have a practical way to identify growth is breaking and how the schemes connect relationships, technologies, and the market's demand into one growth engine. India's MSME ecosystem is central to jobs, production, and exports, but market access, information pages, skill, finance, and delayed payments can still prevent enterprises from converting into support into a sustained growth. Globally, smaller businesses are being pushed to compete through digital channels, platform ecosystems, AI enabled operations, resilient chains, and trusted networks. Not only through local relationships, but we dive into the topic. Before we dive into the topic, let's have a small video about Power of Knowing Forum. Welcome to Preeminent Conclave, the weekly podcast series by Power of Knowing Forum, where insights become strategic advantage. Today, we are discussing on a challenge that affects millions of entrepreneurs. Why does MSME growth still stall even when finances options and business networks market opportunities exist? Before we dive into the topic, let's welcome our speaker and dive into the topic. Hi, sir. Welcome to our podcast. Good evening.
Thank you and very good evening to you, Prem Kumarji.
Thank you, sir. Sir, a small intro about yourself to the audience, sir.
Sure, it's my pleasure. First of all, I would like to acknowledge and thank you, Prem Kumarji, and especially the Preeminent Conclave for this weekly podcast series. I think you're carrying out a great job of spreading knowledge, information to the fraternity. Yes, as you would be aware, my name is Dr. Neel Ramesh. I come with a rich experience of 25 years of corporate experience. I'm the director and founder of an association, which is a Section 8 company called Association of Business Leaders and Entrepreneurs. Basically, it's an ecosystem which we created to support the MSMEs growth and development. I also bring in a lot of entrepreneurial experience. I also serve as professor of practice with Bharatiya Vidyapeeth. Over the corporate experience of more than 25 years, I have been working with MSMEs and business leaders to build scalable businesses, competitive businesses, and my work focuses on business growth, leadership development, organizational capability. Psychology is something that have focused myself, people transformation, and I combine practical and corporate experience with expertise in psychotherapy, emotional intelligence, HR, and change management that helps me to really support businesses to improve their performance and lasting growth. As far as my qualifications, yes, it's more the experience that matters. Of course, I'm a postgraduate in science with management degree. I have a certified Six Sigma black belt, an NLP practitioner, and also an assessment and development center assessor. And I am a member of various bodies like Indian Society of Training and Development, and also other associations and chambers. So basically, the whole thing is the endeavor is to support the business and MSME ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction, sir. And I think I see a lot of experience on the MSME side, and I think you are supporting India, Middle East, and Africa regions on the MSME growth, is what I understand. Thank you for that, sir. Sir, as I started with the question, what is the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs look at? Why does MSME growth still, even with all the schemes, finance options, business networks, and market exist, it does not grow? Your take on it, sir.
Yeah, a very pertinent and a very important question because that's a reality. However, we don't like it, but still it's a reality that in spite of all these schemes, training, registrations, finance, everything that is available, these options are existing for the MSMEs, but still the MSMEs don't move forward. They still are stalled or something that stops them. Now, it's a very complex situation, but then it all comes down to mindset. Basically, because MSMEs work in silos, they think that doing business is just about selling. So the point is, the fact is that MSMEs don't lack the schemes. There are a lot of schemes that are available, which we all know, be it finance, be it even trainings, be it even various types of registrations. But the real question is, as you rightly say, why so many businesses still struggle to grow despite having access to all these things. Now, it's not the absence of this support, but the crux of it is something that integrates. There is the missing link, what we call the missing connection between these places. Now, if schemes alone were enough, then every registered MSME should succeed and should be thriving. But the fact that it's not so today. So the challenge isn't availability of the support, it's converting the available resources and the support system into a sustainable business growth. Let me give you an example, a very simple example of, say, health, okay? Because I think we all would appreciate post COVID, everyone is focusing on health, and health has become a top priority. But in spite of this, today in the AI world, you are flooded with information. There is every type of information on health that you get, of what to do, what not to do, what to eat, about various life diseases, everything. You have YouTube videos, your fitness apps, you have various diet plans, nutrition experts, doctors, and every gyms, yoga, what you call sessions. In spite of all these things, yet today lifestyle diseases are really rampant. You find diabetes, obesity, hypertension, stress, everything is continuing to rise. Now, why? It's not a lack of information or knowledge or lack of resources, but the fact is that knowing something and doing something, there is a gap. Knowing what to eat is different than eating the right thing. So there is a difference. One can join a gym, okay, but then still there is no improvement. Now the fact here is, just buying, say, a health insurance doesn't guarantee a health. The fact is, each of these are there, but it's not about, when we talk about shortage of such schemes. So why? Because there is some regime, there is some thing that connects all these. You need to understand them, follow them rightly, you need to integrate them, you need to monitor them, you need to get to the right things. It's not about eating anything and everything because things are good and so many things are available. So, in the same case, what is required is, there is a need for personalized plan. If you talk about health, okay, there is a consistent execution that is required, expert guidance that is required, discipline, accountability. There's so many things that are very important. Reviews. Now, the same thing can be taken as an important analogy and brought forward when businesses are concerned. So it's not the shortages of these schemes. Okay, everything exists. The problem is that it exists in the whole, how it gets integrated. It's in isolation that is there. Everything could be there, but still, just like, you need someone, you need a support, you need a physician, you need a guide, you need a mentor, you need someone who can help you to get to the right thing, the right connect, and help you to integrate everything. Same way, MSMEs need someone to connect the strategy, finance, capability, technology, then compliance, market. All these things need to be mentored and into a single growth, what you call a roadmap. So this is what is actually missing. So if I were to just make a statement, the real problem is not lack of support, it is the lack of integration. Just as health requires a coordinated ecosystem, when we talk like diagnosis, treatment, a lot of nutrition, exercise. So it's a sequence, okay? Same way, MSME requires an ecosystem that connects these schemes, okay? The various schemes, it could be financial schemes, it could be capability, it could be technology, it could be the market and execution, everything. So that is what it comes down to.
So what you are saying is that ecosystem is not available where you can bring everybody together. Now, where is that disconnect happening, sir? Where does the real disconnect happen? Whether it is awareness of those schemes, access to those schemes, or application is too complex for them to look at, or the market linkage. What is that you take is the primary phase for this real disconnect, sir?
I think this is a very important question, which will take you further into the whole aspect of why this disconnect exists. Now, as I said, availability is not the same as accessibility. Okay, one is availability. Everything is available, but it need not be accessible to you. Okay, and accessibility is not the same as execution. Okay,
Hmm.
it may be available, it may be accessible, but even then you may not be able to execute. So most MSMEs do not fail a lack of availability of these schemes or finance. They still have all this, but why they stall is because the growth ecosystem remains fragmented. Now, what is the reason? The very first thing is, today in the world of, say, information, you have so much of information. You open the Google, you open your internet and computer, you any information, you get multiple choices, so many information, you are bombarded, overloaded with information. Now, over information leads to confusion. Okay, you don't know what to choose, what not to choose. For example, schemes are available. Which schemes are relevant? How to apply for it? Okay. How to meet the eligibility criteria? Starting from right at that point, it's a question mark. Which opportunity will deliver the highest business returns or impact? Now, that is the first thing. Now, how will you do this? You need to have due diligence. For here also, you will need some support and some handholding, because to help you choose the right thing which suits your business is very important. Every information is not useful to us. Okay, you may land up choosing a wrong information and start applying it, you may land up into a wrong situation. The next is again, when you register for various schemes, like basic thing of even Udyam, and from there, if you go to so many things, like even GST, let me tell you, GST itself is something where people are still today struggling to actually comply with it and take the full advantage and benefit of it. Why? Because of lack of knowledge. You don't know how to really use it. There is no point just blaming these aspects.
Hmm.
It doesn't help. So, the right knowledge, the right connect with the right people, you need to be in total sync with the whole uh, system that is there. So, whether it is Udyam, GST, or various other compliances what are there, you fail to leverage them. It is, they are not supposed to be working against you. You are supposed to work along with it and leverage the whole thing. Okay, and then align it with various things. You align it to get your benefit when you talk about your procurement, market expansion, credit enhancement, export opportunities. Everywhere government and schemes are giving you benefit. So this is the second thing again. So there are various aspects why this whole thing is still acting as a gap, or you get hampered by the uh, progress in spite of having all these facilities and resources. The third thing is, yes, you attend any and every forum, every training program, you gain knowledge, you come across something, you feel, oh wow, this is good, let me try this. You go to somewhere, you get some knowledge, get excited, you do something there. So training or gaining those information without aligning with your business into an implementation plan can also lead to, reaching a long destination. Entrepreneurs attend workshops, seminars, training programs, all these things, but receive very little training support to convert this training or learning into measurable business solutions. Now this is again a very, very serious thing, today. The third most important, the fourth one is finance without business readiness. Are you ready with that? You need to have a very, very robust business plan, a business plan which you can approach the banks, you can approach the funders, you can approach financial people to get the funding, right funding. After you get it, you need to have a financial discipline. Documentation again is a big gray area with MSMEs. MSMEs still are very, very averse to documentation. They feel it is a waste of time, waste of money, waste of effort. But documentation helps you to be systematic. You can be very, very, what you call, it can support you in various situations. You can fall back on those data. So documentation again becomes a big bottleneck for these people, but proper documentation helps. Then again, growth strategy, lack of growth strategy, governance systems. These are all something the MSMEs still need to cope up with. And then MSMEs again need to step out to know and connect with the market. That's a very important thing. So weak market linkages again. Many
Mm.
MSMEs focus only on production, but rather than move out and see the market development, what's happening, the changing scenario in the market, the changing customer needs, the changing market dynamics, environment is very important, and talk of various market. Now, all these things, how to choose which is the right way for your product or service. Okay, it includes B2B, it includes buyer seller connects, export channels, digital marketing again is a very upcoming thing, but again a gray area. If you leverage it properly, it can work wonders. Again, MSMEs again have a mindset, a fear mindset, they are very reluctant to share information or to collaborate or partnership. Today, the world is all about collaboration. Individually, you cannot do anything. So
Yeah.
that fear needs to be shed and said that it's all about how you can create a strategic partnership. So this is where things, and then you have various other things also, which becomes a bottleneck. If you talk about strategic mentoring, is something which is required. Mentorship is, see, asking for help or seeking support is something every MSME should look forward to. You are an expert, yes, but it can take you to a certain level. But to get the full advantage of the entire schemes, benefits, and the entire ecosystem, you need someone to guide and mentor you. So, choosing the right mentor or getting connected with the right association, like for example, I could give you this association which we have, like ABLE. Our basic thing is to build a dynamic ecosystem, where we offer a platform where MSMEs can freely come over and present their situations, pain points. We will help them to scale up by connecting with the right people. There are many such associations and chambers. You need to seek support. because that will help them. So, strategic mentoring, then lack of integration is what we spoke in the beginning itself also. It's the integration that matters. If things are in standalone, if they don't speak to each other, don't connect with each other, things will not move. And then finally, last but not the least, is there is a big execution gap that exists. Okay. So it could be any excuses, maybe resource limitation, maybe time limitation, wrong prioritization, absence of accountability. There are so many things that again, what you call prevents the execution to happen. So the real challenge again, once again, I will just like to sum up that it's not the shortage of schemes or support system that is available, it is the absence of an integrated business development ecosystem that connects everything: knowledge, it connects finance, it connects technology, it connects mentoring, it connects market, and also execution. So that is how I would like to put it across.
So thank you for that pointer, because there are certain pieces that you need to understand, certain forms need to be joined, and that is where you can get. Now, you said benefits, right? Can you explain us on one pointer, getting a scheme benefit and building a sustainable growth engine? How
Yeah,
do we
that's
look
a
at
very,
this?
very, yeah, I can understand that. It's a very important question. Yeah. So, as we say, when you get a benefit, like let me explain it to you.
Hmm.
What we say here, let me give you again an example only. I was just thinking of some example. Say, for example, you have a great car, okay, very modern, good car, okay, an automobile. You have also enough fuel, and you have also a valid driving license. Okay, everything is there in place, and even you have a good Google map. But imagine that the GPS doesn't show you significant points what is required. It only shows you maybe only the fuel stations. Someone else tells you the traffic. Someone gives you a traffic update. Another gives you a paper map. Now,
Hmm.
all these are giving you directions. So, schemes per se, when you talk about government schemes or any such schemes that are available, they are available for you as something like a seed. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, when you have to grow, seed is very important. Without the seed, you cannot. But the seed by itself will not give you anything. You will have to work upon those seed. Okay. So, working upon that seed, what does it mean is that seed has to be sown, it has to be nurtured, it has to be watered. You will have to put uh, manure, you have to take care of it. Then it grows. So, the same way, a scheme is just an input, just a support system that is there. Okay. So also one more thing you can say, imagine a business person. There are two entrepreneurs, for example, okay, and suppose he has a resource, say 10 lakh rupees, right, is a support that he has under a government scheme. We are talking of a government scheme. The first one, say, spends on machinery but continues to work in that same format. Okay. So, although what his production increases because of the machinery, he has not taken care of how to sell that extra production that he makes. Like the sales still remains flat over a period, productivity does not grow. And after a year, also, he still remains at where he started. Now, what happens is that person has not considered further what needs to happen, how to market that product, which will be the new market to be taken. Now, in contrast, if you take another example of the second person who invested in same machinery, but along with the machinery, what did he do? He trained the employees, okay? He improves the process. He adopts to some digital systems. He strengthens branding of his product. He develops new markets, okay? And builds what? Customer relation. Now, what happens is both receive the same benefit, 10 lakh rupees, which they invested in machinery. One just invested in machinery, continued to do the same thing. The other person
mm,
further went and invested in all these things. So what has happened is one built a growth engine. Now this is what the fact that is out of the both, only one built the growth engine. So if we have to see sustainable growth, okay, it is a combination of capability that enables a business to grow repeatedly and independently. So it typically includes a lot of things. It includes clear business strategy, strong leadership, value proposition, financial decision. Most important, it is again working capital and cash flow, effective systems. Now, these are all required. So just having the scheme by itself does not help. A scheme per se can improve your balance sheet for a while. Okay, paisa aa gaya, you got some money, you feel happy.
yeah,
But then that by itself will not work unless you put it to work. Okay. So without something that drives, it is just like putting a fuel into the vehicle. Only if the vehicle runs, the fuel efficiency will be brought out. Otherwise, it is of no use. If the vehicle doesn't give you fuel efficiency, for the same fuel, the output will be less.
yes,
Right?
yeah.
So, without a capable engine, even a full tank of fuel will not take you far. So, schemes provide the necessary fuel because that is important. But a growth engine is the engine itself. So without a capable engine, even a full tank will not be able to take you far, right? So this distinctly fits into what we call it as a broader message that public schemes, which you mentioned, are valuable catalyst. The schemes are important. You need that trust, you need that support, which is important. Okay, they are catalysts, but MSMEs, if they have to succeed and sustain, it comes from integrating these opportunities with other key aspects of leadership, capability, execution, market development, which creates a self sustaining business.
Got it, sir. What we are also understanding from you is it has to go like a connected way. Journey should look at capability, production readiness, buyer access, repeat orders, and working capital. Am I right in saying that, sir?
Very true, sir.
Yeah,
I would
sir.
just like to add, if that is okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
See, in these cases, what went wrong was the company had everything. They had better technology, they had financial support, they had skill, but
Hmm.
it didn't have what? They didn't have a marketing strategy, a dedicated sales effort, a connection with other suppliers, OEMs, participation in various industry engagements, then digital presence to generate inquiries, plan to enter new markets. Now, all these things are required, which is part of the ecosystem, and they need to be integrated and understood.
Got it, sir. So what we are also saying is India has multiple SME support systems, including programs designed to strengthen access markets, look at finance, technology. The real challenge is converting them into execution, that which you said, right? And across the globe, if you look at markets, are small firms grow faster when the support system is connected to finance, capability, technology, buyer demand instead of operating separately. We see silos here. That is what you are saying. And if you are able to bring that ecosystem together, I think what you are saying is that whole chain of MSME ecosystem is built and it becomes easy for the MSMEs to thrive and run their business, is what you're saying.
Right.
Schemes support MSEs, but connected markets scale them, is what you're saying, right? Now, with that, what is the missing bridge between MSME capabilities and buyers' confidence?
That's interesting. The missing bridge. Now, see, I should say every business thrives on relationship. Okay, today it's no longer selling, it's all about relationship. It's the relationship that thrives. Selling happens as a transaction, No longer today, people are known as salespeople. You don't need to push your product, you don't need to sell per se. It's all about finally building up the credibility. Okay. So an MSME may have the capability to deliver. Okay, it may produce the best of the products, it may even deliver. Today, what the buyer looks is for that trust and that credibility. So, how do you do that? That is the most important thing today. So the buyer just doesn't buy a product. What they buy is the confidence. Okay, even institutional buyers, they look for quality. Okay, reliable delivery, on time delivery. There's something called as QCD, quality, cost, and delivery, which is very important today. And how does that come forward? All the credentials that you have to show that you really are dependable. It could be as simple as straight as certain certifications. It could be compliances. Now, GST is one of the important aspect of credibility. If someone sees that you are paying regularly GST and you're complying with the laws, which means you're a person who can be depended upon, your business is something which is compliant. So to do business with such an organization, people will, feel more comfortable. Yes, they are within the framework of all compliances, so you can depend upon them. Then there are certain certifications. Then, of course, is your financial stability, scalability, your competitive pricing. But above everything is how do you commit to your delivery performance. And it may start in a small way, it need not be a big way. Every small thing, it is just like many a drops build an ocean. So you have to build up the credibility. Trust and credibility takes years to build up, but to what you call spoil it, it doesn't take time. So one needs to be very mindful of this. It's a long and evolving process, but then that is what will sustain. And the real bridge between both, if just that one word is nothing but it's the credibility aspect. And credibility is something that you have to be keeping it organic. It cannot be कि एक बार मिल गया तो हो गया. No, because the situation is so dynamic. You have to keep on keeping yourself updated, upgraded, and in close connect with your customer, keeping that credibility intact.
Sir, what do the institutional buyers, large
Hmm.
enterprises, OEMs, and export partners actually look for before giving a small business chance? Is there something that we can look at that point, sir?
Yes, it's an extension of the earlier question that you asked, Very true. Because institutional buyers or large enterprises, or even for that matter, export, again, the
Mm,
foundation is credibility. Okay. That is the first aspect of it. They don't just buy a product per se, but what they buy is purely a confidence part. See, large buyers don't ask you, can you make it? Okay.
mm,
That is taken. Otherwise, you're not there in their purchase list. The question is, can they depend upon you?
mm,
Depend upon you consistently and at the scale that they want. Are you able to supply to them at the scale that they want, and are you dependable? Okay. So consistency is what is most important for them. So in that, the whole issue here, you should be able to show your track record, which they can trust. Okay. And other things is for them, because for them, any one what you call a miss representation or a miss on the delivery or anything like that can cause an enormous impact. So the
yeah.
dependability aspect is very important. So how do you risk free them? Okay. So it means basically how can they trust you? By reducing the risk is often as important as getting the right product. So this is what the big buyers look into. Primarily it's the confidence level, the reliability, delivery, and all other aspects they look into. Is what really matters to the larger. enterprises or institutional buyers.
That when we say that, do they have yet to look at the logos and a long track record for giving an order? Is that what they look for? Or can I put it like this? How can the
Yeah,
MSMEs
please.
build trust? So, what we are asking is, how can the MSMEs build trust if they don't have a large customer logo or a long track record? Because you said is, if a miss is there, there is a problem, right? Now, I am a new MSME, and how do I build that track record or the logos that I don't have a large customer? That's the point that we want to
Yeah,
understand.
I think very important question because MSMEs will have to live up to that. Uh, See, trust is something, again, the foundation, trust is something which is built up before a reputation. Okay. So MSMEs can earn the buyer's confidence by demonstrating consistent quality, obtaining relevant certifications, delivering small orders flawlessly. Okay. See, there is a mindset, bada order aega to hi hum karenge. Yeah, only if you get a big order. No, whether it is small or big, it may be that in the beginning you don't get a big margin. But the fact is, you need to establish yourself in the market. You have to establish your credibility and trust. So start by delivering small orders. Every small order met timely will add to your credentials. Okay. And it is going to repay back. So it is delivering the small orders flawlessly. Customer testimonials, even small orders that are given, one should seek a testimonial. You should have your customer satisfaction report, a, a credential which will always come in very, very useful. Maintaining some systems which are professional, simple without investing much. You have some system in place which will instill the confidence in these people that yes, they don't just do half-assertedly, but they have a process or a system in place which will help them to get that confidence. That is why such certifications, let me explain it to you, that I think the most popular, which has been there for a long time, is the ISO certification.
Yeah.
Now, what does the ISO certification do? They only ensure that processes are in place. They say whatever you are doing, document it, and whatever you are document, you follow that. What does it result into? Consistency. So there is a documented process which you are following, and you have documented every process that you are following, which helps you in spirit to someone to know that there is something laid down, which brings in consistency in the product, consistency in the process. Same way, there are many government schemes which is much beyond or more comprehensive than ISO, which is something called, as for the MSMEs, government has rolled out Z schemes, which is zero defect, zero effect, which is again a comprehensive where there are many parameters which includes everything of customer delivery, cost, environment, sustainability, so many things, leadership, people management, cost, materials, everything. And it is doable and is specially customized and made for MSMEs where government is promoting. There are certification levels like bronze, silver, gold. Now, getting that itself is a accreditation where you can qualify. So, someone who wants to uh, buy cyclists, big buyers, or they, by looking at that, this MSME is certified, gives them that confidence because you will get that certificate only when you what you call you comply with all those parameters. So it's a process by itself. So these are the schemes which I would encourage MSMEs to go for and get themselves certified. Okay, so it helps. So start with basically delivery reliability, product quality, consistency, all these things. So that is how things will happen. And the very strong line that I would say, one liner, is don't wait for a big customer to build credibility. Build credibility through every small commitment you keep. Trust grows one level by one level. So success delivery at a time. So that's what I would just like to put across.
Thank you for that, sir. I think what we are saying is you need to look at a consistent delivery model, right? And with what you can build trust, right? That's the point that we are trying. What should MSMEs improve first? What is that they have to improve to get that kind of an alignment? Where are we talking about they should have a very good product, quality wise, and compliance has to be met, digital visibility, relationships, price
Mhm.
discipline, or delivery reliability? What is that they should look at first to improve, sir?
Uh, yes. I mean, in fact, everything is important for them to actually look into. But what they really need to do is they need to first assess themselves ki where do they stand today.
Hmm.
Okay. They need to assess that. So what they need to do is basically look at these things. First, do an assessment wherein they will get ki where are they. Before even going for anything, you need to first assess how and where are they to begin with. So these are something very important. Growth, doesn't happen because you have a scheme or you're attended something. It happens gradually. You need to diagnose your business. You need to build new capabilities. You need to execute with discipline. You need to measure the outcomes, improve continuously. That's how survival becomes sustainable. So it's very important that, how do you go about it? It's basically the mindset, right? So the biggest reason MSMEs today, stall or what they need is that they work in the business instead of working on the business.
Okay.
So they often lack a clear growth strategy. And then having a growth strategy, they should look at scalable systems, market connect, some simple things. The first and foremost is they should put in something known as, a CRM, or the customer knowledge is very important first. First and foremost, they need to have that. Yeah. So this is somewhere they should begin with at that point of time.
Got it, sir. What we are also saying is a large company does not need to buy only because the product is good. It needs to check on how reliability is there, quality consistency is there, and delivery ability, compliance, and payment terms and conditions. That's the very important point. You
Yeah.
also should look at what could be the proof of promise. A small supplier can build confidence through samples, pilot orders, testimonials, certification, where a relevant, clear company profile and reliable post-sale service also is mentioned, right?
Correct.
I
Correct.
buy a product, I get this kind of service. This is what I do. This is where I stand, right? MSMEs contribute significantly to India's exports, but
Very true.
credible buyers are and dependent market. I mean, information still remains a recurring growth constraint, is what we wanted to say when we talk about this.
Yes.
Now, coming to that point, buyers don't use or buyers don't buy the size, they buy the confidence, is what we want. Just saying if this is given a confident and what is that they want to look at with that use of that product and it solves some of the problems, I think they will go for it, is what I understand. One last question, because we are on top of the hour. How can business networks become real growth infrastructure, not just network events? Because today's events are more becoming connecting, but real business does not happen. So how do we look at
Right.
this pointer, sir?
Yeah, it's very important what you're talking about. Uh, Maybe if you can just repeat that question once again,
Now, what is
just for
happening
the
today?
emphasis, just for
Yeah.
the emphasis.
How can business networks become a real growth infrastructure? Right?
Yeah.
We-
So I
Not
just
just a
wanted to pick up,
networking event.
yeah, I just wanted to pick up those two strong words of network and growth. Okay.
Yeah.
So what really makes a business network valuable? Okay. While, just having a networking or which eventually results in like some maybe exchange of visiting cards or just pleasantries and things, So this, when you talk about business network, they have to create real value. Okay. And when they have to move beyond just preliminary or informal introductions to enable customers, because you are going there with a purpose. Yes, of course, the first point is starting with a pleasantry or relation, but that should not be the objective. They should connect MSMEs with their potential stakeholders, key stakeholders, which would be mentors, buyers, financiers, technology partners, institutions, market opportunities. So when an MSME chooses to attend a business network or a business group engagement, he or she should look at it ki what is that network going to offer, what is the type of composition of the people or the engagements are going to get, what's in it for me. And accordingly, what I would suggest the MSMEs is just don't walk in. Please do your due diligence, study about it, know well that what you are carrying yourself is everything about yourself, and see how well you can pitch it there. So try to connect with the people who are relevant to you. If it is to get buyers, or if it's to get finance, or if it's to get technology partners, each are unique and important. So when you attend these, go with a very clear cut objective and preparation, that the meet, because see, the time is limited and the opportunity is limited. You shouldn't waste that. Oh, I couldn't explain this. Oh, I couldn't tell this. Oh, I had not come prepared. So a great network doesn't just happen by exchanging business cards or just pleasantries. It carries business opportunities, it carries collaborations and sustained growth. So it's very important that a networking event, because of the time constraint, it can end in few hours, but from there the journey starts. So that should be a powerful connect where you should then take it forward. It doesn't end at that networking, it is the beginning. So you should follow it up, you should have the due uh, process for doing it. So the growth ecosystem keeps creating opportunities long after the event is over. So that is what really a business network uh, creates value.
Got it, sir. Just a second. Sir, with that, one pointer that I want to add to that question is
Please.
what makes one business network valuable while another becomes only a visiting card exchange? Because we spoke about not having events just to have those events, right?
See, any, say, a network event, uh, if it has to be valuable, it has to offer a holistic platform. If it is not offering enough of all these things, the opportunities, then it becomes just like a pleasantry or just exchanging. Just I'll give you an example. Think of, say, an airport. Okay.
Mm,
Now,
mm,
an airport is not valuable because only planes are there. Okay. It's not valuable because only planes are gathered there. It is valuable because of the whole ecosystem that is there, the entire infrastructure. That is, the runways are there, the air traffic control is there, the fuel, the maintenance, security, baggage, handling, connectivity. Now, all that, when it works together, it makes that aeroplane really useful and valuable for who? For the passenger. Because finally, the value addition is it enables the plane to take off and carry the passenger to reach the destination. So I hope this analogy, similarly, what it is when someone goes to a networking event, it should not just constrain that, okay, ki baba, we just exchange cards, the people were good, food was good, or the whatever was said was good. But it should offer opportunities where one could take the business forward. Okay. So when such an event is organized or when such an event is there, then that creates a value addition. That is where you start on your journey to reach your destination.
got it, sir. Sir, with this, as we are on top of some of the pointers that I have taken as key takeaways. I just wanted to list it out because we have discussed a big piece of information that is required
Yes,
for MSMEs. I think what we can say, the takeaways that I have noted is MSMEs growth does not stall only because support is missing. It stalls when schemes, capabilities, networks, technologies, and market access do not work as one connected system. That's the point that we started with. The second that
yes,
we want is a scheme can remove a barrier, but one buyer confidence, repeat demand, and healthy cash flow creates sustainable growth, is what you said, because that is where you need to build confidence. That's where you need to have the track record, the process, payment structure, terms and conditions. These are pointers that we discussed. Business network should be used to grow infrastructure, target introductions, buyer access, partnerships, mentoring, and accountability.
very
Not
true.
only look at visibility. I am visible in this platform, I am visible in this platform, but there is no business coming in, or there is no business discussions happening, is what we need to look at. Bring that kind of networks. Technology adoption should be begin with a clear business fraction point: leads, inventory, delivery, payments, customer retention, and operation visibility, right? And the last point that I would like to take is the practical MSME growth agenda is simple: diagnose the constraint, choose one market path, build proof, measure conversations, and protect cash flow. That's the pointers that I have taken. Are there any pointers that you want to mention before we
I
conclude the
think
session, sir?
you have covered very well. See, again with technology, when you said technology, the biggest mistake in adopting technology without business clarity,
Hmm,
because today AI and technology is there. Technology should solve a specific business problem. Okay.
hmm,
It
hmm.
should not be adopted because it is trendy or someone else is doing that you also want to do it. At the same time, one should also not delay the adoption of technology because today digitalization, aspects of cyber security, technology, all those are important. So the business strategy should lead and technology should enable it. So this is something very required, which I thought should be keeping. And the technology should be need based.
Hmm.
Okay. So adopt one to use it. There are many a times where I have experienced people have gone from some technologies, even ERP systems, so many things where you're not equipped and it is just becoming a redundant or a white elephant or a expense. It doesn't help.
Okay.
So you should be mindful about that. So that's very important how you take the things forward. So the main thing is, as you rightly said, growth doesn't happen because you have received a scheme, as you said, or attended a workshop or gone for a networking event or something. Okay. One should understand one's business, diagnose one's business, build new capabilities, execute with discipline, measure the outcomes, improve continuously. Now, these are all something every MSME should build into their ecosystem. And that's how the what do you call survival becomes, a sustainable growth.
Sir, thank you for making this conversation practical and hopeful. The message is very clear. MSMEs don't need more disconnected activity, they needed connected execution, is what we are talking about.
Yes.
For every entrepreneur listening today, make one commitment this week saying, identify that gap that's stopping your growth, market it, money, capability, network, or technology, and choose one action that connects you closer to the real customer. That's what we
Very true.
wanted to say as a MSME discussion, that why MSME's growth stalls when schemes, networks, and markets don't connect. That's the point
Very
that
true.
we've discussed the whole 45 to 50 minutes today. And with this, we would like to conclude our session for today. Thank you, audience, for joining. So, thank you for making this event 375th event memorable for us to understand the schemes and stuff like that. So, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you from my side also. Thank you. And wishing each of the participants and the MSMEs very best, and I hope it has given you some food for thought to consolidate on certain things that you are doing and to adopt to certain new things, because it's always you built upon it. It's not that what you're doing is fine, but then something that always you continuously learn and build upon it. So it's an evolution which has to happen, and success will automatically come. And more than success is the sustainability that is important. So, best wishes for that, and thank you.
Thank you, sir.